can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way.
Good morning. Just replying to someone there. Hello, good morning. How the devil are you? Look, I'm coming to you nice and early because I'm going to go and get my roots done. So, I just wanted to have a little bit of a chat about the old up to no good, the whole tribunal, because it's really bothering me. And look, I hope that I'm completely wrong. It's unlikely. I hope I'm completely wrong, and that how by hook or by crook, this woman who's devoted her life to the NHS, Sandy, I hope she gets justice, right? I'm just a bit confused. It is very early. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Julie. Julie said that my impersonation of, and that is right. And that is right. Nadia Whittam. All the people in the community, everyone, all the people in our community. Anyway, so that's my impression of Nadia Whittam. So I just want to talk about this the stuff that's going on with the tribunal. It really upsets me. Let me talk to you about how I started, and I'll be brief. So I started my activism, first of all, talking about the things that we weren't allowed to talk about because it really bothered me. I might do a Radio 4 voice, actually. I think it's a bit loud for this morning. So the first thing was things really bothered me that weren't truthful. Like really bother me. It just kind of feels like you should just be able to say to some people, no. You know, like when your child says, "Can I have Cocoa Pops for breakfast?" The answer is just no. Like, as in, what a bizarre thing to say. And that's how I feel about much of this, right? That's how I feel about much of this. So, way back, I mean, we've had numerous very expensive crowdfunders. One of them was for Alison Bailey, who retired before the case even went anywhere. I think that was $500,000. I don't exactly know what that was going to do. Something to do with Stonewall, and actually, what's happened in the United States of America should really warn everybody that it simply takes just one person in power, and the whole game is up. We've just got to make it so that anybody in power can't for a moment go along with this shit any longer. That's what's got to happen. It's really easy. It's really easy. You just go, every time it happens, you just say no. So I don't blame Sandy for wanting just to win her case, but I am perturbed by the winning of the case will include her protected belief that that cock in her changing room is not a woman, right? So she's going to rely on that belief, that the belief that sex exists is a coherent belief and protected in law. Not the absence of belief, which I think should have been fought, if anything, on belief. Not the absence of belief that he isn't a man, his belief that he's a woman. You could just say that you don't share that belief. You don't have to say that you have a different belief, because his is just a belief, right? Like it would be like me being a Christian and believing in God and being told I have to prove that there is a God, or me fighting something on the basis of being persecuted as an atheist and me having to prove that there is no God. It makes no fucking sense to me. Now, maybe I'm just a bit stupid. Maybe I don't live in these privileged ethereal circles where the things I talk about my rights and my feelings and things that happen to me are just some sort of thought exercise. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe law is just simply a thought exercise. And maybe justice always happens like this. But we already had laws and statutes which describe what a fucking woman is. So I'm so sorry to swear this early in the morning, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. So we had Alison Bailey, then we had a Fair Play for Women. I think they raised 100,000. And I think what happened with that is they maybe took one sentence out of the census. It's dancing on the head of a pin stuff, people. It's fucking bullshit. It's all this kind of, and everyone, there's this big celebration, and I just beg of you, just be careful before you celebrate too early. There is this thing where people are going, "Oh, he sounds so silly." Why is he in the witness box? Why? Why is Dr. Upton? Why is Dave, whatever the fuck his name is, probably Tarquin, he's probably quite posh, or Angus. Why is he in the witness box? Why are we entertaining the idea that what he thinks about himself has anything to do with anything? This is not a work disciplinary, right? This is not a work disciplinary where this is an internal conversation. We have two people in a room and you try and balance what the fuck is happening. Dave, could you stop putting the porn pictures of women up on your thing? It offends Julie. Julie, Dave has the right to put whatever up in his locker, and then you make a decision. You go, actually, Dave, you're a pervert. Take it down. So why? Someone better than me can tell me why we are entertaining this man for a second and what he thinks about himself, when actually the fundamentals of this case are a woman felt a single-sex space was unsafe when the NHS basically opened the door and said to a man, "You go in there, love. Go on, you have a great time. You make some women uncomfortable." Why aren't the NHS in them? And maybe they are. I'm not paying too much attention to it. Maybe they are. But for me, I want senior people at the Fife NHS board, trust, whatever. I want them in the witness box telling us how Dave is a fucking woman and why they let him in there and what policies have led to this thing. Now, maybe they will get there, but I'm seeing a day or two spent on a man that actually is a very good manipulator. And he got Naomi Cunningham to say cis, trans-identified man, trans woman. Now, some people are like, "Oh, it's a very clever way of edging." No, it's not. No. There are many ways you could have done this. You could have been facetious. You could have said cervix havers. You could have said testicle wearers. You could have said, I would have been facetious in that court. That's what I would have done as a legal. But then I'm not a lawyer because I don't have the fucking patience. And I don't believe, look, my full status case, which cost a phenomenal amount of money. And the benefit of her case is that lots of people talked about it. I mean, lots of people got it wrong, but lots of people talked about it. But ultimately, what that did is it set a precedent in law that sex, being immutable, is a belief system. And so every court case that uses the full status ruling will then talk about the balance of people's beliefs and their right to hold those beliefs. So I'm just saying, for me, it's wrong. Ultimately, what you now need is a bunch of patients and other staff talking about how this is unsafe for patients. Like, that's the thing that's bothered me most about this, that nobody bothered to worry about patients. You know, what do we need? Do we need an elderly woman in a care home, or an elderly woman on her own at home to threaten the council with the carers that come in that are men in dresses? Like, do we have to wait for the vulnerable to speak up before anyone gives a shit? Up and down this country in hospitals, there are men LARPing as women. And they are all dangerous. Every single last one of them. They're all activists. They're all dangerous. And I'm so just fucking hell. We just need something massive. There's no way this woman should have had to go to a tribunal. The NHS should be in the stand. Not this. Look, LARPers and perverts and vile men exist and vile people exist, right? They exist. We know they exist. But now the state, an arm of the state, our National Health Service, is shoving these men's dicks in our faces and saying, you must like it. They are stunning and brave. So it's just not good enough. It's not good enough to be coerced into playing this man's game in a court of law. It's not good enough. I think our side should have said, Sandy's side should have said, actually, we don't think he's relevant. Why is he relevant? I don't get it. Why is he in the stand? He is merely a tool of the shitty workload, right? He's like a bad thermometer. He's not relevant. Because what's the point of him to convince everyone that he is a woman? Or to convince everyone that he isn't? Who gives a shit what he thinks he is? Or who believes that he's a woman? What difference does that make? He's not a fucking woman. He's in a single sex space. The NHS have put him there. Look, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe there's some really clever thing that I'm missing here. Maybe everyone thinks at the end of this, they'll listen to him. And most people will go, well, he is a man, isn't he? We know he's a man anyway. The people that think he has a right to be in there, they won't change their minds. The people that don't think he has a right to be in there, they won't change their minds. Ultimately, what the NHS should have to prove is that he is a woman, right? And they can't. And maybe this is all way above my pay grade and I don't know what I'm talking about. But when I hear somebody go, well, you know, Naomi Cunningham did say he was a trans-identified man, male or something. I'm thinking, why? He's a man. He's a man. That's it. He's a man. Let me just tell you what he is. He's a man. He's a man. That's it. Why shouldn't he be in that female-only space? He's a man. Why did the NHS put him in there? Because they're a bunch of wankers. That's why. Because they don't give a shit about women. Because they have totally been captured. That's why. Will this tribunal lead to something bigger, where we talk about the NHS being captured? Will anyone fall on their sword for this? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. It's mad. It's just absolutely just insane. So anyway, I don't know if anyone's talking about the patients. I don't know how much everyone is earning from this case. I do know that if we continue dancing on the head of a pin, reorganizing the deck chairs on the sinking Titanic, I know that there's a lot more money way down the line. I know that there's more and more and more and more money for these things because we'll never get to the root. It's like Japanese fucking knotweed. It's like picking the leaves off Japanese knotweed and hoping it goes away. It's just wrong. It's just plain wrong. So I had to come and say that today. The language element is really, really important. He's a very clever man. He's a very, very clever man. He's managed to go train as a doctor, right? And qualify as a doctor and go into hospital, shave his beard off, brush his hair, and get everybody who is also a doctor and a nurse and clever people and patients pretend that they see a woman. That's what he's done. He's coerced his wife. He's wore her like a costume. Wears her every day. He's even got the little earrings on that she wore on their wedding day. He's a really sinister extremist. Dressing as a woman, forcing women through coercive control and manipulation to go along with his delusion. Some of those women will be championing it. They'll be his biggest cheerleaders ever. Right? So why anybody would get in a court of law and validate that by asking him questions, I have no idea. Calling him trans-identified, I don't know. Using the word cis, totally mad. Totally mad. Using any of their language, mad. What's the worst that can happen? That you reveal that the Scottish legal system is totally fucked. And I look, the job of any lawyer is to win the case for their client. But not if you claim that you're also part of a movement that's supposed to unearth this stuff. So maybe there's something else going on. And I know she's got a win for her client. But do you have to lie? Do you have to say trans-identified man? Can you not just say man and stick with it? And let the judge argue with the judge. If the judge said you have to call him a woman, right? Let's say the judge had been force-fed the equality bench book and he was a complete moron, right? Or she, I don't even know. Let's say that they went totally along with it. Would they then call him a woman? Like, really? Like, is half a lie any worse than a whole lie? Is there such a thing as half a lie? Is there such a thing as compromise on the truth? I don't think there is. I really, really don't think there is. And I think that it's only by saying these things out loud and speaking them very, very plainly, that we will ever get justice on this. So anyway, love to you all. I hope I'm wrong. I just know I'm not. I just know I'm not wrong. Every time this shit gets recorded into law, you make it just a little bit more difficult for the next people. It's like the 4 Women Scott case, which again, I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. But in the 4 Women Scott case, they basically made it that some women they made it that some women are legally women and some women are not legally women, right? So if you've got a GRC, then you have different rights than if you don't. And I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it. That's why we need Graction. It's my own little portmanteau. I think it's great. But we need Graction, which is basically Brexit. Grexit. But we need action on the GRA, and that means get rid of it completely. Just get rid of it completely. It's why we've got this mess. It's all of it. It's why this is it's all a mess. That man needs to be called a man. In fact, that man needs to be called worse than a man. He needs to be referred to as an abusive man who's committing a sex crime. He's committing the act of voyeurism. And maybe indecent exposure. I don't know if he's ever got his penis out in those changing rooms, but that's what he's doing. And maybe women, next time you go in a changing room, right? Next time you go in a changing room and there is a man in it, report him to the police. Don't complain to management. Report him to the police for indecent exposure or voyeurism. That's the only way we can do this. And we keep doing it. And put an element of hate crime in it. I don't know. Whatever you have to do. And record your conversation with the police when you report it. Record the conversation when the police say they're going to press no further charges. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Let's be a pain in the arse. Let's not play their game. Let's not be the quiet, simpering, submissive. Oh, we have to be polite, women. Just time's up on that. It's game over if we continue. This has been going on a really long time. And I just refuse it. Anyway, this is Dr. Upton.
I use public toilets and I piss on the seat.
He literally does that. He's a man! Look, I said that a couple of years ago. It seemed to break the spell in the United States of America. I don't see why we can't just say that repeatedly, until they fucking get it that we are just not going to play anymore. Anyway, if you can speak the truth, even when maybe a judge is breathing down your neck and you're worried about not being seen as polite, then I promise we will win. If you can just keep seeing the word for the trees, then I promise we will win. Do you know why else we're going to win? Because I never lose.
Maybe the sun gave me the power, for I could swim Loch Lomond and be home in half an hour. Maybe the air gave me the drive, for I'm all aglow and alive. What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile